There's a reason you keep repeating the same cycles, waking up in the same version of your existence, even after experimenting with all the affirmations, meditations, and mindset techniques. And here's the real truth. It's not because you're doing it incorrectly. It's because you're living as someone you were never meant to remain. Let me show you how this illusion was created. Imagine this. Every morning, you awaken inside a hologram, not a futuristic simulation, but a mental projection designed by an older version of you that stopped growing long ago. That hologram has a label. It's called your identity, and it's the one directing your life. But here's the irony. You don't actually see the hologram. You perceive through it. You believe you're viewing the world clearly, but in reality, you're only perceiving narrowed possibilities filtered through the lens of your former self. The self addicted to mere survival, the self that turned pain into personality, the self that insists, "This is just how life works. This is who I am. This is reality." But what if I told you none of that truly exists? Let's disrupt this loop right here. Because if your mind just asked, "Wait, so am I not who I believe I am?" Exactly. And that's the small fracture where the light enters. You were never meant to relive the same day thousands of times and call it living. Yet that's what the unconscious mind does. It repeats what's familiar, not because it's better, but because it's safe. And to a brain built for detecting threats, not evolution, safety always wins. Now here's the uncomfortable truth. Your nervous system doesn't care if your life feels painful. It only craves predictability. That's why change feels terrifying. Not because you're damaged, but because your old self senses its end approaching and clings desperately to survival. So, how does this tie into the idea of a quantum leap? We've been taught that a quantum leap is some huge external breakthrough, a new career, a new partner, or an unexpected financial windfall. But that's not how reality actually functions. On the quantum level, what seems like a sudden jump is really a collapse of every other version of you that doesn't match your chosen frequency. To put it another way, the quantum leap doesn't occur outside of you. It happens when you dissolve the timeline where you keep shrinking yourself. Here's the missing key. You're not stuck because you can't find clarity. You're looping because your identity is intertwined with your past, emotionally, biologically, and energetically. This isn't metaphorical. It's scientific reality. Let's go deeper. The identity you believe is you, your routines, your convictions, your personality, is merely a vibrational reflection, a frequency replayed so many times it hardened into form. But that form is a mirage. In quantum science, even the most solid matter is 99.999% empty space, pure, oscillating energy. So what does that say about your identity? It's a vibrational framework. And like any framework, it can be dismantled. But this doesn't happen through forced positivity. It happens when you disconnect from the version of yourself that's still fighting to survive inside a reality you've already outgrown. Still following? Perfect. Because now it gets both strange and powerful. You are not the version of yourself that wakes up with anxiety. You are not the one obsessed with overanalyzing. You are not the residue of old wounds disguised as personality. You are awareness choosing vibration. And here's the hidden truth no one emphasizes. The universe isn't reacting to your wishes, it's resonating with your energetic identity. Meaning you don't pull in what you desire, you magnetize what you are. So when you claim you want a quantum leap into a new reality, yet continue awakening in the emotional signature of your old self, you're not leaping, you're looping. Let's end that cycle right now. This is the part most people avoid telling you. Before entering the next phase of your existence, the outdated version of you must fall apart. And that collapse is uncomfortable. Feels like uncertainty. Feels like emptiness. It feels like dying because on an energetic level, it is. You're not stepping into your higher self. You're laying to rest the version that was never meant to linger. So let me leave you with this truth. The quantum leap doesn't start with ambition. It starts with surrender. The surrender of the self that's terrified of its own potential. But what unfolds after that moment? That's where the true transformation begins. And in the next unfolding, you'll uncover something that redefines everything you thought you knew about existence, and the astonishing quantum revelation that restores your power. But not quite yet. For now, let this awareness integrate. The life you're living today was crafted by a version of you that has already faded. Every idea you've been given about reality begins with the false assumption that you inhabit a solid world made of separate objects, atoms, and matter existing apart from your consciousness. Yet this, right here, is the illusion that divided science from spirit and left you wandering through life believing you're apart from the very reality you're trying to shape. Because once you dive into the heart of quantum mechanics, you'll uncover something so reality-shifting, it borders on unbelievable. The very foundation of existence doesn't act like solid matter, it behaves like mystery itself. And that mystery bends to the direction of your focus. For more than 100 years, scientists have been wrestling with a phenomenon known as wave-particle duality. In the legendary double-slit experiment, a lone electron behaves like a wave, a probability field, a haze of potential, until it's observed. In that instant, and only then, it collapses into a particle, a fixed point, a tangible thing. This means that the simple act of seeing decides what's real. The observer doesn't merely witness reality, the observer creates it by collapsing possibility into form. Let that truth land, because this isn't spiritual poetry, it's science. But its implications reach far beyond physics labs and math equations. If a subatomic particle becomes real only when someone observes it, what else in your life is waiting for you to view it differently? What dreams are floating around you, still unmanifested, waiting for your awareness to bring them into being? Because the version of you that's watching the world right now is still trapped inside yesterday's lens. And here's what they never bothered to teach you in school: the observer and the field are one. You don't just witness reality, you merge with it. Which means your perception, your expectation, and your emotional frequency aren't passive. They're creative forces in the quantum field, constantly sculpting what comes into form. This changes everything. You're not an audience member in the theater of your life. You are the projector. This is why you can visualize your goals 1,000 times, repeat affirmations in the mirror, write your dream life in journals, and still feel stuck. Because if the you doing all that is still the old observer, the one fused with fear, doubt, and lack, then you're seeing from the vibration of the past. And as quantum physics reminds us, what you observe becomes your reality. Let's go even deeper. In the quantum field, nothing is fixed, only potential. Your future isn't a single straight path, it's a spectrum of infinite versions of yourself. The abundant you, the healed you, the confident you, the liberated you, all existing as energetic waves of possibility. And the one that materializes depends entirely on which frequency your being aligns with. This isn't about hoping, wishing, or even doing, it's about tuning. Picture it this way: every version of you exists like a radio station. When you're tuned to 88.3 FM, you can't hear what's broadcasting on 105.9. Not because that signal doesn't exist, but because you're not resonating with it yet. Now imagine your identity as the tuner. If you keep aligning with the version of yourself that says, "I can't. It's too hard. I've always failed," then you're locked into that same broadcast of limitation. That version becomes your loop. But if you shift your tuning, not through force but through internal coherence, the field begins to mirror back an entirely new station of existence. So how do you adjust the tuner? This is where science meets mysticism. The tuner doesn't live in your thoughts, it lives in your state of being. Your thoughts are electric, your emotions are magnetic. Together they form the electromagnetic code you transmit into the field. And that field, as confirmed by researchers like Dr. Joe Dispenza and Nassim Haramein, is highly responsive. It echoes your dominant vibration back to you. Not what you want, not what you say, but what you are, emotionally and energetically. And here's where the illusion gets revealed. Most people try to transform their lives through the mind alone. If I just believe harder, say more affirmations, think positively. But their body is still programmed in fear, addicted to the chemistry of survival, and emotionally anchored in scarcity. So while the mind dreams of a brighter tomorrow, the body keeps transmitting the frequency of the past. This creates energetic dissonance, and dissonance keeps the quantum field uncertain, sending you mixed signals, partial manifestations, and endless delays. You might be wondering, but I truly believe. I want this with all my heart. Why isn't it happening? The answer is piercingly simple. Desire isn't the key. Identity is. You don't manifest what you crave, you manifest what your nervous system considers safe to experience. And that safety isn't stored in your logical mind, it's coded into your energetic field. That's why the quantum leap is never a straight path. It's not about taking steps upward, it's about shifting dimensions. You're not traveling from here to there, you're aligning with a new version of now and becoming the self who already exists there. In that shift, every version of reality that no longer resonates, the draining job, the toxic relationship, the endless struggle, begins to dissolve. Not because you pushed it away, but because you stopped energizing it with your attention. Let me leave you with a paradox. Quantum theory tells us that particles don't exist as things until they're observed. So what if your future isn't waiting to arrive, but waiting to be noticed through a new identity? What if the only thing postponing your breakthrough is that you're still viewing your life through the eyes of who you used to be? In the next part, you're going to face something even more confronting, that your own body, your brain, your cells, are chemically hooked to your past identity and unconsciously resisting your transformation. But there's an exit from this loop, and it begins not in thought but in the felt vibration of your being. We'll get to that. For now, remember this: you are not here to chase outcomes. You are here to collapse potential. And the greatest potential is the version of you that declares, I am not observing reality, I am composing it. You awaken before your eyes even open. A familiar wave rolls over you, the same thoughts, the same tightness in your chest, the same leftover emotions of yesterday. You're not merely waking up in your bed. You're waking up inside your past. And this isn't poetic, it's biological fact. Your body is literally addicted to the chemical pattern of the old self. And unless you interrupt that cycle, your brain will reconstruct the same identity every morning like a substance it can't go without. Let's turn to the science. Neuroscience shows that by age 35, 95% of who you are is a collection of memorized behaviors, automatic emotions, beliefs, and subconscious patterns. You're not consciously directing your mind is directing you. Your nervous system doesn't crave evolution, it craves familiarity. And here's the snare. The longer you remain in the same emotional signature, whether it's anxiety, shame, stress, or unworthiness, the more your body mistakes it for home. It becomes your default identity, not because it reflects your soul, but because it feels known. And to your survival brain, familiarity equals safety. That's why every time you attempt to make a massive change, a quantum leap, a vibrational shift, a new self-concept, your body subtly resists. It floods your system with anxiety. It whispers hesitation. It manufactures logical excuses to keep you still. What? Because your subconscious conditioning isn't in harmony with your conscious intention. The mind says, I'm ready to grow. The body says, but we've survived doing this. Don't risk it. Here's a radical truth. Your body is your unconscious mind. Every emotion you've ignored, every wound you've buried, every limiting belief you've never challenged, all of it lives in your tissues, in the memory of your cells. The mind may forget, but the body archives everything. And it will fight to keep replaying emotional programs it recognizes, even when those very programs sabotage your future. Dr. Joe Dispenza calls this the chemical self. It's not metaphor, it's biology. Each emotional state generates a unique recipe of hormones, neuropeptides, and electrical impulses. Feel anger long enough and your cells start craving that chemistry. Dwell in guilt, fear, or helplessness repeatedly, and your body restructures itself to match those vibrations. This isn't mere conditioning, it's biochemical dependency. And like any addiction, withdrawal hurts. That's why genuine transformation often feels like dying, because on a neurological level, it is. When you begin embodying a new version of yourself, empowered, abundant, free, your body doesn't rejoice. It panics. It longs for the chemical rush of the old identity. The discomfort that arises isn't proof of failure, it's the detox of who you once were. This is the point where most people retreat. Not because they lack desire for change, but because they mistake withdrawal for misalignment. They say, this feels too hard. Maybe it's not for me. But that's an illusion. The truth is, the old self is fighting to survive inside your nervous system. And unless you learn to sit in that inner fire, with awareness, compassion, and coherence, You'll keep getting pulled back into the emotional gravity of your past. So, how do you interrupt the addiction to who you were? The first step is awareness. Not intellectual awareness, but somatic awareness. You must become deeply familiar with the emotional fingerprints of your current identity. Notice the triggers that pull you backward. Observe the tightening in your chest when you dream beyond what feels safe. Watch the stories that surface when you imagine ease, love, abundance, and notice how swiftly your body resists. Because here's the quantum truth. The field doesn't respond to your imagination. It responds to your embodied frequency. You can visualize wealth endlessly, but if your nervous system is tuned to lack, you're still emitting scarcity. And since the quantum field is neutral and exact, it reflects only what you are, not what you wish for. That's why the answer isn't to try harder, it's to repattern your state. And this is where science and spirit converge. Through practices like heart-brain coherence, breath work, emotional elevation, and the repetition of new neural patterns, you can begin teaching your body how a new future feels before it manifests. The secret is to generate the feeling of the future now, not as a reaction but as a choice. Because the moment you feel elevated emotions like gratitude, love, and expansion, without needing outer proof, your brain starts rewiring itself. You install a new energetic signature in your field, and the old chemistry begins to dissolve. But the story doesn't end here. Neville Goddard taught that imagination is the divine force of creation. Not to merely wish for something, but to embody it through feeling. And when your inner vibration no longer aligns with your outer conditions, that's the moment reality must bend. Not because you pleaded for it, but because it has no other option. Quantum law responds to coherence. So ask yourself this: what emotions are you unconsciously addicted to? Which feelings have come to define your personality? What old memories are you replaying in your mind so often that your body believes they're still happening? These aren't casual questions. They're gateways. Because to step into a true quantum shift, you must first recognize what's keeping you grounded in the old self. And that anchor is rarely the external world. It's the neuro-emotional patterning of the identity you haven't allowed to dissolve. It's uncomfortable, yes. It's inconvenient, absolutely, but it's also sacred. Because the instant you become aware of your conditioning, you are no longer trapped by it. You become the observer. And from that higher vantage, the observer transforms into the creator. In the next stage, we'll cross the threshold, learning how to collapse the timeline of the old self before it collapses you. You'll discover how to energetically dissolve your past, not by forgetting memories, but by upgrading your identity. I'll guide you through an energetic practice that allows your field to release the frequency of limitation. But understand this: once you do, there's no return. Deep within, a version of you is still clinging, not from hope, but from habit. That version stays tied to your past, not because it loves it, but because it's familiar. And what the nervous system recognizes, it protects. But here's the paradox most never realize: what you refuse to collapse will eventually collapse you. Let's explore this through the quantum lens. According to the principle of superposition, all versions of you exist as simultaneous potentials, until one is observed. The confident you, the abundant you, the healed you, the visionary you, they all exist, though not yet expressed into form. The version you're living right now is simply the one you've been unconsciously fueling with attention, emotion, and repetition. And as long as you continue identifying with that self, its timeline stays active. Its energetic loop remains alive. Its story becomes your confinement. But here's the secret they never shared: identity is not static. It's selectable. It evolves through energetic agreement. And the instant you withdraw your focus, belief, and emotional investment from the outdated self, that timeline begins to unravel. Like a frequency that's no longer transmitting, like a program that's lost power, like a hologram fading into light. Let's go further. Everything in your current life, your results, your relationships, your finances, your health, is encoded with the energetic imprint of who you've been, not who you aspire to be. The old job resonated with your former sense of worth. The recurring heartbreak reflected your emotional template. The lingering stagnation matched the identity that feared expansion. Nothing in your external reality exists apart from your frequency. That's not theory, it's resonance. So, How do you collapse an old timeline? First, you stop trying to fix it, because fixing assumes you're still that version. You don't repair what you've already outgrown, you release it. And to release it, you must practice the one ritual the quantum field responds to with perfect precision: energetic disidentification. Here's what that truly means. You must stop feeling like the old you. Even if your environment hasn't shifted yet, even if your thoughts resist, even if the outer world mirrors the past, you reclaim your power by reclaiming your frequency. And that begins with presence. Start here. Close your eyes and sense the energy pattern of the version of you that's been struggling. Don't analyze the thoughts, feel the vibration. Feel the posture, the breathing rhythm, the emotional baseline. What's the texture of that self? Dense, tense, guarded, or numb? Let it express itself. Don't analyze, just witness. Because witnessing is what begins the unraveling. Now picture that version of you standing before you, not to dissect but to acknowledge. Offer gratitude. That self carried you this far, endured for you, and navigated uncertainty with the resources it had. It was never broken, only outdated. And now it's time to release it. Silently or aloud, say, "You no longer shape my reality. I release you." Notice what shifts inside when you declare that. That subtle quiver, that exhale, that stillness, it's the energetic thread loosening. The frequency is changing. This isn't a single visualization, it's a continuous practice of becoming. Each time the old self resurfaces through thought, emotion, or habit, you return to this choice. I no longer fuel this vibration. I no longer inhabit this self. I dissolve this identity in love. And gradually, like roots being lifted from the ground, the program begins to fade. But there's another layer, the body. You must bring your physical system into alignment with your new vibration. That means move like your new self, breathe like your new self, speak from your new self. This is where Neville Goddard's teaching becomes a quantum directive. You must live as if the wish is already fulfilled, not work toward it. You must inhabit the end result now. And your biology must feel safe enough to accept it as truth. So instead of reacting to the outer world, broadcast into it. Wake each morning and declare a new transmission. I now trust the unseen. I am the vibration of prosperity. I am the embodiment of peace. Don't just say it, become it. Because the field doesn't process your words, it reads your frequency. The more often you return to the vibration of your future self, even briefly, the more the old timeline starves and disintegrates. Not with noise or spectacle, but often with silence. Sometimes with sorrow, because every rebirth carries a trace of death. Yet within that dissolution lies freedom. Here's what you must understand. The quantum leap doesn't occur when the universe sends you proof. It unfolds the moment you stop sending energy to the past self. When you tune into a new harmonic, the universe, bound by resonance, must meet you there. Now it's your turn to claim it. Write in the comments, "I dissolve the identity that no longer serves me." Say it like a decree, a password, a vibration. Because when you speak it, you tell the field, I no longer negotiate with who I was. I broadcast a new signal. You've made it this far, and the next stage is where it all starts to integrate. Because even after releasing the old self, most people still wonder, why isn't it happening yet? Why does it feel incomplete? The answer is simple. They're still wanting when they should be being. In the next phase, we uncover the most overlooked law in manifestation, the one truth that ensures alignment. Prepare yourself, because beyond this point, there's no return. There's something few reveal when this journey begins, a subtle trap that derails even the most sincere seekers. The deeper you crave transformation, the louder your energy whispers, I don't have it. And this contradiction, the space between desire and identity, is exactly why so many remain stuck. The quantum field doesn't react to yearning. It responds to frequency. And frequency is never defined by your speech. It's shaped by your state of being. Let's trace it to the source. Most people believe they're manifesting when they visualize their dreams, write affirmations, or script ideal futures. And these can be potent tools, but only when rooted in inner harmony. Otherwise, they become rituals of resistance. You picture the life you want but feel separate from it. You affirm wealth but vibrate lack. You write your dream story yet secretly wait for proof before you allow yourself to feel it. And this split between thought and embodiment is the very fracture that collapses manifestation. When you wait for proof before shifting your vibration, you postpone the collapse of your intended timeline. Because in quantum reality, it's the frequency that summons form, not the reverse. Let's anchor this in science. Every emotion emits a measurable vibration. Gratitude, compassion, faith, these are elevated states that synchronize the heart and brain. And that synchronization generates a coherent electromagnetic field. This field, recorded by HeartMath and validated by numerous studies, influences not just your inner biology but the energetic fabric around you. You turn into a living transmitter. You radiate the signal of your emotional state, and reality, like a tuning fork, resonates with your dominant vibration. So if you're dwelling in lack, always yearning, wishing, waiting, the field hears one message: I am without. And the universe, perfectly precise, replies, as you believe. That's why those who experience quantum leaps aren't pleading for change. They embody the change in advance. They decide their new identity is real, not through evidence, but through energetic conviction. Neville Goddard taught, assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. Not hope for it, not wait for it, but embody it. Wear it like a second skin, like a frequency, like truth deeper than thought. Because when you do, you stop broadcasting a signal of waiting and begin transmitting the frequency of I am. Let's venture further. Most people live trapped between the version they aspire to be and the version they continue to energize. And this gap isn't crossed through effort, it's crossed through identity. You don't force yourself into becoming. You step into that vibration and remain there until the field restructures around you. But this is where the mind's shadow appears. Whispering fears, demanding certainty, craving visible proof. And each time you collapse into how or when, you emit confusion. You speak one thing yet vibrate another, and the field mirrors your disharmony. Let's stop this loop right here because this is the cycle that keeps you stuck. From now forward, you must become the initiator, not the reactor. You must transmit your future's frequency as a broadcast, not a plea. You must exist from the vibration of already having, already being, already embodying, even when your senses disagree. Even when your circumstances contradict it, especially then. Because that is the proving ground of coherence. That is when the quantum field begins to bend. Let's root this in metaphor. Imagine reality as a mirror. You wouldn't wait for the mirror to smile first. You smile and it reflects. Reality operates the same. Your outer world is not your commander, it's your reflection. And it reflects what you are being, not what you're asking. So when someone says, I've been manifesting for months but nothing's changing, what they truly mean is, I've been wanting intensely while staying the person who doubts. And the field, neutral and exact, echoes that inconsistency. The beauty is, you can recalibrate your frequency in an instant. Not through control but through remembrance. Ask yourself, who would I be if it were already done? How would I feel, move, breathe, speak, walk? If your highest timeline had already merged into now, what would your energy radiate? That version exists, not as fantasy but as vibration. So here's your daily ritual. At least once, sit in stillness. Close your eyes. Breathe into your heart and ask, what is the frequency of the me who already lives this reality? Then feel it. Don't force perfection, just sense the signal. Maybe it's peace, maybe empowerment, maybe lightness. Whatever it is, amplify it. Let it saturate your body and stay there. No expectation, no demand, just coherence. Practice this consistently and your nervous system will recalibrate, your mind will realign, your actions will evolve. And the field, responding not to your words but your wavelength, will begin bending toward the version of reality that resonates with your truth. This is the essence of a quantum leap, not a jump toward something but a collapse into resonance with it. The leap isn't motion, it's alignment. It's remembering that your outer world is not the source of your state, it's the echo of your vibration. And now we approach the final veil. In the closing chapter, we'll unveil the deepest revelation, that your desired reality isn't a goal to pursue. It's a parallel version of you already existing within the quantum field. Your only task is to match it. You've been taught to strive, to seek, to become. You've written affirmations, meditated, visualized, hoping one day the self you dream of would arrive. But here's the quantum paradox. The version of you you're waiting for already is. Not metaphorically, literally, as frequency. You're not moving toward it. You are the portal through which it materializes, or doesn't. Let that truth sink deep. Everything you've been chasing isn't waiting in the distance. It already exists, encoded within the quantum fabric. It already is. The question is not, how do I get there? The question is, who must I become so that this version of reality can recognize me? You don't create the self who has it all. You remember that self. And remembrance isn't mental, it's energetic harmony. The instant your inner state synchronizes with the vibration of your desired self, a loop in space-time opens, known as entanglement. And from that point, a bridge forms, not constructed through effort but born through coherence. In quantum language, entanglement means two particles, or two potential realities, become so profoundly linked that no matter the distance, a change in one instantly influences the other. So picture this. Your future self is already entangled with you. The very instant you emit the frequency of that self, through breath, awareness, thought, or emotion, existence must respond. It's not a matter of belief. It's fundamental physics. But here's the catch. You've been conditioned to identify only with what your senses can perceive. You think you're a physical being traveling through time. Yet in the quantum field, time isn't a straight line. It's layered, holographic, and alive. Which means you're not becoming your next self, you're selecting it through vibrational alignment. The self that already feels free. The self that already radiates abundance. The self that already trusts the unseen. They all coexist, stacked inside the infinite quantum now. So how do you merge with that version? You stop waiting to feel different after something happens, and start generating that feeling now because you finally understand, you are the cause. You stop seeking proof and instead become the proof. You stop repeating the same story and start broadcasting a new frequency. You stop asking the field to rescue you and start showing it who you truly are. This is where most people lose their coherence. They collapse back into memory instead of identity. They get triggered by familiar emotions or hypnotized by their surroundings and re-enter the chemistry of the old self. But that isn't failure, it's initiation. A portal only works when you walk through it. And walking through demands leaving behind what no longer resonates, not people or places but outdated versions of you. That's the real death before the quantum leap, not physical death, but the dissolution of a timeline that no longer carries your vibration. Every time you release that version with love and choose coherence over control, you shift dimensions, not in imagination but in energetic reality. You stop chasing outcomes and start matching them. So let me ask you this. Who are you when no one's watching? What signal do you emit when no one's listening? That unseen broadcast is sculpting your timeline right now. It's summoning the people, the chances, the synchronicities, and it's either magnetizing your expansion or looping your limitation. But today, in this precise moment, you've awakened. And once awareness arrives, there is no going back. You now understand you're not here to hope. You're here to harmonize, to embody, to become. Because the truth is, the new you doesn't need to be invented. It needs to be revealed layer by layer, frequency by frequency, choice by choice. So if something inside you stirred during this journey, if the old shell is cracking, the old narrative fading, and your authentic vibration is growing louder, then you are ready. Ready to go beyond mere inspiration. Ready to master your frequency. Ready to step into the reality where you no longer manifest. You simply are the manifestation. And that's exactly why we created something for you, a deeper path, a structured method, a field-tested guide for quantum-level transformation. It's called Awaken Your Quantum Power. And it isn't just an ebook, it's a vibrational technology, a hands-on manual for rewiring your identity, dissolving outdated timelines and activating your internal energy generator. It's a literal key. And if your intuition recognizes it's time, you'll feel it in your body. You'll find the link in the pinned comment below, and when you access it, you won't just download information, you'll download frequency. Because this isn't a space for bystanders. It's for the ones who remember that they are the broadcast, and that reality bends to the frequency of those who vibrate before the evidence. So I'll leave you with this final resonance. The field is always listening. The only question is, which version of you is speaking?